Yeah, though deve sim vai dar bola. Isso não vira, não tem sua bolsa. Ó, eu até vou falar. Давай. Vou falar rápido, I don't know. Sorry, no comment on the content and which, as I said, I would take out just in case it's some medically trapped because of how unhinged some of the demands and things have become. But the state document that I said has a remarkable trait of such because again, you know this again the incompetency and the rest claim that even if you would argue that that was just part of courtesy, or I'm going to mention that. Do you think that after yesterday? I wouldn't. I don't think anyone would think that after yesterday. After yesterday, I think that same person in the world would be considering that person. It doesn't even look that much better. It just looks more funny and worse. But here's the point, though, that you pay attention to. So, I kept saying every day for more than a year, they kept throwing drugs on me here. And then you could even see the cutting of the things in the back as a way to clarify things, right? Keep saying that. It provides clear view, sunlight is the best disinfectant. You can clearly see there's a lot of sunlight here now. The issue is, the big one. First off, none of his batteries didn't come in here to begin with, so spiders going from here to there, which is what I normally do, that's not me to change. The 2 times split, maybe, doesn't matter, express a lot of secondary intention as well, because again, if you're going to do that for a normal reason, do that all at once, you don't split in 2, because that's the only thing. Again, there's no pressing issue that would interrupt you yesterday, nor is it today starting a reasonable time. It's just that. So there's that. What else? One thing. One of those things should not be in this far. I can remember now. I can mention because it's worth to me. I think I mentioned that already. But I'm going to focus on something else, which is, let's say that they have some genuine intention of that. Right? Something. Right? That's supposed to be it. not now, but you can understand why. But think about it. If that was the case, then you would want to change as little as possible, right? Because changing as little as possible allows me to move so just little as possible allows what I always talk about, polluting evidence. Changing as little as possible allows the whole thing to be kept to see what the problem really is. And then at the same time you see this, you see it trying to get me to move. And again, that's why we're kind of hanging tight a little bit, just to see if that's some positive confirmation on that. Because again, just like police officers do, at least the good ones, same way as there is locked on, we locked on, so we cannot go back from it. So let's fix this before we leave. Nothing that I can see. So, no, there's no point going now, which is the point. I just want to move away the food bags out of the sun. Also be used to stack up yesterday. Yeah, once the food bag is not to heat up. ASF? No, there's no ASF. The point is KK 6A49, but I don't think it's necessarily involved in this. So, back to the point, as I was saying. As I was making the point for the maybe so the fact that, remember that I mentioned here, they stay here, I was seeing the fact that they got drugs more in this closed up area, and as I was there looking for a place to take Chip to, and he was having a hard time trying to cut a very tiny tree. He not he has experience with woodwork or anything. The point is, the small tree is being a hard time. Give it a turn so to face again. I noticed that the waves of exhausting from here, not by him obviously, but by someone else. And this is important because I was laying there on top of it, and on top of that there was like a lot of wind blowing from the front. And as I said, whenever the wind was blowing, the actual things would feel less bad than when the wind was not, like now. So, explain to me, even if this was like a headache for any normal reason, how cold wind blasting straight into your face makes you feel better. Or not necessarily to your face, but around. But even in the face, it wouldn't matter as much as to just have the oozing thing around. Typically coming from the back. Okay? So, pay somewhat close attention to it. And most importantly, as I pointed at, they're all closed. All you see on the other side now are 2 bags. They're big bags, but they're bags. And I have the cats on the ground. To this point, the only thing that I can see that belongs to me, I mean, some of the things don't belong to me and look like a mess, but other things that belong to me are the pants, which I cannot stress enough, still didn't got brought up, which is pretty shocking, if you ask me. Which again is simple to fix, and I presume that that's at least one of the reasons to pick that put in the bag. But the issue, and scary, come on. The issue is, and I bet that when you pass in the front, and when you go there, not gonna go now, we're gonna see the provocation because it's still there. But which is on the bench, as I said. I didn't survive this by acting like a child. I could, and it's not like I don't know how either. It's just as I said. The issue is, and even now, notice the things I say are put in context for what you see. I mean, you can work a chaplain or anyone else, you understand. As for the rest, the think again, the literalization of the things that I say, particularly on the war crimes, especially how literable many of those crimes are, particularly if you take in context they're done to one person. Like, you cannot mass murder one person. You cannot genocide one person, if that makes sense. You cannot do those things, and also how public this is because of their own choice, but they can roll back from that now. Meaning, everything has to be invisible. And if you take those 2 factors in consideration, you take strictly what they're willing to do with those restrictions, you see that none of those blockages are moral. They're very practical, almost just down to earth practical, right? The equivalent to, if you don't have those constraints, it's the equivalent to how to deal with the body, the material, the very physical aspect of it, right? And that's sort of shocking. Now, so again, they're literable. They're not literal. I don't claim to understand many of those other things because it's not on the same scale. But we're talking quite literally comparing this with the Holocaust. So, yeah, you wouldn't be in the same scale for most things. It's not supposed to be literal, but it is a surprisingly literable comparison if you go down slowly. That being said, you'll be taking attention, but I just don't think that I would know what those people went through based on what I go through, which doesn't mean that what I go through is acceptable, but it just means that I still don't believe that was not the cheer, which to be fair is common knowledge, not really special, just saying that. But you're gonna see many of them trying to turn this into literal and perhaps either for a variety of reasons, which tells a lot about them because they don't listen to this, especially if you listen to how often people say the words. Yeah, especially today, my standards are still way within old school standards than what you said out, regardless, as I said, you understand why I've been mentioning those things, and the fact you can understand those things so clearly also goes to show volumes about this. As I said, it's more literable than you would expect, and even for today's standards, even for standard ones, right? And so keep that in mind. As for, like for instance, right now, increasing the headache. Why? It's like breeze. I'm telling you. You guys are torture you on it, you know. As I said before, I presume those torture yawns happen because those drugs have a heart effect, and that's you on trash regularly. Anyway, need to back up everything offline as well. As I said, it's not just an online copy; it's also the offline one. Definitely also shit drugs in there. We're having drugs in there in the front. It's regardless, if you want to pick up words, not nitpicking words like which type of bag technically, as you saw bringing down yesterday. But if you want to pick up big words, like for instance when he said the problem is not you staying here, the problem is just a thing. All we have now is two bags exposed, another one hidden. There's Chip's house there, which again is a bag. Hands is still hanging, it's still not brought up, so even though they're gonna take them and go, but I've actually got the bag already so don't forget. She's hunting. Look at that. See how close to the ground she was? I bet she was hunting like an ant, or a very big ant it had to be. So cute. I hope it's not a slug. Christ, don't eat a slug, baby. It might be a slug, damn it. The dog's for this one. I don't know what she's smelling. I think she's smelling something. But clearly she's hunting though. You have a first solo hunt. We're gonna paste the back in a different place. Maybe I should. That's a good idea. She likes to keep me on edge, doesn't she? A lot of those drugs as well. Okay. There's the guy coughing for no reason, so well, let's go back, so I'm not over. Bedouin couldn't have an explanation to you where she was eating scraps of food. It's the same food rather than eating from the pot, but she probably has a reason. Probably not. In case you fail to see my point, what I'm trying to get at is that I think that this has to do with some attempted defamation from me. They keep trying to say that I'm doing things and things like that. Okay? Also, it's useful that the bag would be lower because it'd be as hot in the sun. Anything inside this point that they put it there, it's bad. No, it's just cardboard. So it's not a big problem, but still. I mean, the glue on the tape might make a loose rather than that. See how everything feels odd? Yeah, this is what happens when you have torture drugs in it. So if you normally see them playing around and walking around and there's a sleep especially, and now you don't see the baby, which is always around, and Chip is acting weird because she has nowhere else to go. She doesn't have anyone. The baby knows the hiding place already. His mother taught him. She doesn't. So the baby is doing his thing. He knows the place to get away from those things because he experiences a torture day. It's the first torture day for Chip. And he's not there. It's not any of the normal places where he is. So as I said, often he goes away to be safe. I'm just pointing that, for instance, right here when there's wind blowing, for the most part there ain't no torture drugs because the way they understand is they release those things in small dosages. And if they release more, it comes out more. If they release less, it comes out less. But they release at specific times and they're putting a little. So if I'm outside of the wind, the thing settles down, I guess. And then it could loosen up. I honestly, you know, if someone came here and said before to do something, I don't know. All I know is that talking around and moving around like this feels normal. If I go like here, even like I was doing before, the screen record and checking hospitals for Chip, all of a sudden it comes waves of headaches. Not even shit drugs being thrown. Just like those ones. Just like those ones. It's good that you don't see fully. But also it's so convenient to see a known involvement in this kind of it on the vehicle. I was a bit concerned if I wanted to upload this directly alongside the other ones. And that just eases my mind a lot. So this self funny though. It says, when I say the Lord doesn't have a sense of humor. Particularly when you see how much they exploit me struggling with absolutely nothing and still pushing forward with absolutely nothing, and they seem to find it incredibly amusing. Right, you saw them mocking anything from clothes to the size of the bags to the fact that I slept in one of those bags. So that's surprisingly efficient to block everything from rain to drugs, especially what I use it for. And the fact that they block both of those while having some issues, for instance, with that condensation. The major one is if it's cold outside, so it gets wet. But honestly, it's surprisingly efficient. And I witnessed several mockeries and other things like this, mockeries of other points, and you realize that, you know, the ability that I don't have to move too fast because I don't have a car, while they would have cars, sometimes expensive ones at that. And again, grossly misunderstanding. And again, not for ignorance, because they chewed that down very clearly. They know exactly what will be coming. And it's stupid choice. Probably because they expect some crime to be done to me and to the evidence before that happens, or because they genuinely believe that everybody else is as rotten as they are. That's to say. Anyway, I suppose that's why I found that if something was recording in audio, but it'd be seen as a message to criminals, and I don't do those. They do those a lot. It's actually quite amusing to relate to you. But I don't do those, so just saying as a heads up, lately it's when I look into the Who's Me. Maybe Who's Me, your monitoring calls, not separated at all. It's just a YouTube video, something like that about internet guy grossly misunderstanding, again, how world works. And I'm just saying that. Even had some things implying some level of things about this. It's worth emphasizing. There's the bit I'll be doing this to publishing on the internet like YouTube, and no, not really. That's why none of that would ever be monetizable. None of that would ever be. And it's not like I don't need the money, but none of that would ever be in any regard. Even kept public, that's a backup method. That's a safety net. That's a part of the safety net. Depends on that. If you wish, I cannot resist much because I have watched nothing, but I can be smart about it, and that's just part of it. Another problem is coming up, as I showed that before, the Google Drive, 2 terabyte thing. I switched to AI, and I had a bad feeling about that when I did, and I cannot find the normal non-AI thing. They might be hacking into Google's fucking main page website, or it might just be Google trying to take an extra level from people. It's stuff to know. For whatever it is, if they are hacking to Google again, that is then you see the beautiful bright red cherry on the jungle, and you see, yeah, that must be truly delicious. I don't know why any other animal eats it, and it just goes to town on it. But at the end of the day, please be sure to take advantage of that if that's the case. If not, well, as I said, it's just another mountain, just waking up for other things, because again, we need the online things to be safe. It's the easiest by a long shot, and the place has internet, and no, there's nothing to do with YouTube for it now. YouTube's entirely separate. It's had different platforms, different to everything, which is free as well. So, any safer for this crime. But I'm trying to remember. Another wave of drugs being constructed, and it lasts a little bit, and then it goes away. This amount to end, presumably if someone released, that guy's the guy you seeing right there. Release, it crossed over, stays a little bit, when it blows it away, we're good. For instance, over here, I don't know, I can tell you. Still there, but not more, about the same. But I can testify that as I was here looking hospital for Chip, I definitely saw hospital for Feds. Definitely gone. What? Again, I was looking for hospitals because I was looking for a place in a university that would have popular prices. But let's see how it goes. To be fair, I think that's such a simple thing. I think it's a type of skin disease, or is a parasite that will be treatable with some type of pill or something topic. And the meds themselves probably not too expensive. The consultation, you're gonna see. And as I said, this is the type of thing, I kept announcing that a while ago also, because let's say they go there and the person thinks it's funny to lie or to be badly or to overcharge or anything else. That's just going to be relayed. Even minor places like this, it would be too hard to stun the rates regardless of that. And I prefer to go to the university, which is why all those days I hadn't gone. I knew the places already. The couple that I have. I choose not to because I prefer the university. So doing everything I can to be as least confrontational as possible. Even for that. Even in a case where it's easy for me. Because again, if they are bad, they'll be a veterinarian mistreating an animal. Which, I mean, publicly it is. So I didn't have to, but I'm still doing that, all those precautions, because I want to be, again, I just want her to be good, and I'm willing to pay, and everything else. So, again, we after all of that, then it falls back. And this is basically my pattern for everything. You saw that happen yesterday, right? Because then you have the position, even though the man's absurd to begin with. If that was the case, I don't know. Perhaps to be a nice person, perhaps to treat her very well, just like every other animal, and she's going to be kind of fine, and everything's going to be fine. I'm just saying that it's luggage on me, not her so much. I mean, all they did to her was stealing her mother, the only thing she knew in her life. Me. In my case, there are more incidents, not least of which they also preyed on my family. It's just at this point you can say, fuck it, fucking sick MO, right? Hunt, come on, baby, hunt. Yeah, we're dealing with this. And this is probably something that would affect the other animals as well. Even if it's a skin disease, I truly believe that there'll be something that could pass. So we fix for her. Plus, I'm gonna take some pictures of baby. I have them already, but there will be some looking necessary. We're gonna do the backup for us for yesterday, and after that, I'll give the locate the baby. By the way, the backup is online already. It's uploaded while I was inside the place sitting at night. Great idea of venturing me out, right? And you sounds like this, or you think like, okay, good. You won, even if a very minor thing. But no, that's not an experience I have. You never know. You don't know if there was them. You don't know if they tampered with the evidence before. Keep in mind, they threw so much torture drugs on me in the early evening, which I passed out. I passed out early in the evening. When I closed, I still hadn't zipped the files. Even when I freed up the space, it didn't occur to me because, again, torture drugs and pain, constant pain, didn't occur to me to zip the files at that time. It's not to be of the spectrum. So, yeah, presumably a victory, but not even that's a guarantee. Anyway, as I was saying, I'm going to zip the thing here, take a picture of the baby, and showcase at least his lip. His lip is this type of small body, so I can take a good picture, which tries the impossible. It's so easy for me to see it, but Christ alive, how difficult it is for him to stay put for 1 second and just take a picture. So instead, what we're going to do is crank up the resolution to the highest and film it. So, a short film with the lip and something else as well that I noticed. I think it's the most, the ear, the lip and the ear. And yeah. I don't know what else I'm gonna know. I'm also gonna send that to Tanya because maybe some good things are gonna come. That's why I'm not mentioning here. Unlike Tanya, I don't do that. Not from criminals, no. Just from someone they used to take care of. Okay, I cannot say much more. And as I said, you're not going to be anything official. It's going to be a lot of hearsay, and I won't comment on here at all. I'll just buy the thing. If you don't hear about it anymore, it's probably because that happened. And if it's such a thing, good. But if today I'm hearing. Look at the baby. See the baby. Oh, the truck moving is actually convenient. It's likely he's gonna wake up.